I'm Tash. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm the interim executive director at Restore Oakland Inc. And we are based in the Fruitvale out of the Restore Oakland building that is co-owned by our homies at the Ella Baker Center and the Restaurant Opportunity Center. And I was like the first staff member at RO when it was created like
Oh,
4 years ago. And here I am. And today I'm going to be talking with you all about this like really whack $80 million jail expansion. And what's just wild is that I've been working on this, fighting against this jail expansion since I was a young organizer at the Ella Baker Center in 2015.
wow.
And here it is, rearing its head again. So, which means that we have to organize and mobilize to fight it, make sure
Always.
it doesn't happen. So,
Yeah. Cool. So I've actually been in a space at the Ella Baker Center. So really excited to like both hear like your history with, being the first staff member, but also, just your longevity in this fight. I think often we, don't always get the moment to stop and pause and say, I've been fighting these campaigns for a minute and be able to kind of lift that all up. But I'm wondering if you want to kind of give some history to folks who might not know, like how long we've been pushing against the expansion of, jails and prisons in California, but particularly here in Alameda County.
yeah. So I have like a limited history, but I'll do the best that I can. But in Alameda County, so Alameda County is a massive county. There's like 17 cities in Alameda County that spanned as far as like Livermore, Fremont, Dublin, as far north as like Berkeley, and even an island like Alameda County. And so it's a really big county. And we, although we are not the biggest county in California, but we have the fifth largest jail in the country. If you've ever been to the jail or if you've ever been locked up in the jail, when you arrive there, it is as far as the horizon goes. It is just like an incredible amount of land with units, many units. Like, I think it's got like 30 units or something, just a
Wow.
massive facility.
Mm.
And 10 years ago, our county spent like $300 million on a jail system that had about 4,000 people in it. And now we're spending twice as much for half of the amount of people. So our county is spending over $630 million on locking our people up. And on top of that, they're trying to build an $80 million jail expansion that is 38,000 square feet. So Restore Oakland, our building is massive. It's like half the block. It's 18,000 square feet. This is
Right.
more than twice as that. It's like a mall to lock up and incarcerate our people under the guise of mental health care. So it's gonna, if this gets passed, it's gonna become the de facto mental health facility in the county.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And remind me, like, isn't the county budget like just a couple of $1 billion anyway?
Yeah, the county budget is about $3.8 billion. So this is a significant, I can't really do math
Don't worry. It's
at this point. It's a lot of money.
a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of money to kill people. You know, there's been 5 deaths already this year, most of whom are people who are in a mental health crisis. People are dying in their first few days in the jail. A young person, Eric Magana, may he rest in power, died in April, and he was only 26 years old and was unsheltered from Livermore. And so it's just beyond me how these county supervisors can justify pouring millions of dollars into a deadly place that has no care for
Wow.
our people.
Wow. Woo! That's super. Mm, that's a lot. And I know a lot of folks are saying, wow, comment, probably sitting with this. I don't think I can take a bite of my food right now because, you know, as a daughter of a mom who has mental illness, um, you know, and has been to Santa Rita and you know, had 5150 situations. I don't want my mom to be there in that situation. I want her to get the right care. I want her to be able to call me and, you know, be able to like, you know, have someone I can talk to, and that matters, right? The versions matter. Um, so it's just bewildering to me that our county supervisors are thinking about that. I don't think anyone who has a family member with mental illness wants to see their family member go straight to jail first. Like, that's not what I think folks want. But more
Mhm.
importantly, my gosh, like, there's so many other things to help our community that we would much rather want the county to invest in. So, you know, I just tell us a little bit more about, you know, what should they be doing, and what coalition you're a part of and what you're pushing for, right? Because I think our community is not at the board meeting saying this is what they.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Procolia, for sharing your lived experience. And before I go into the vision, I mean, like, so much of what you experience and what so many others in this community, everyone is touched by mental health.
Yeah.
Everyone is touched by housing, a housing need in some sort of way. Everyone, if you are a person of color, right, is touched by criminalization and the legacies, and especially Black people connected to the legacies of slavery and intergenerational trauma. So I really appreciate you for sharing that. And a question that I want to turn to you before I answer kind of the larger vision and demands question is like, what, like, if you could spend $600 million to support your mom and her homies, but not only her, but you and her loved ones, because you all are really the frontline caregivers, like, what does your mom need that she didn't get when she was 5150, right? Early on,
Right.
but also in a moment of crisis.
Right. I mean, obviously, I think, you know, housing, I think, for some folks that don't know, when your parent has been put on SSI, at a certain point, once they get to retirement age, you have to kind of go through a recert process. I had no support with that. I still have no support with that in the way I really need. And so I think as a child, we don't learn, you know, it's like, how do I learn how to be that supportive, caring, amazing caretaker for my mother, right? And I think that those are things that I'm learning. I wouldn't profess to say I know them now, but I would definitely want a couple million for housing, and definitely a couple of million for family supports, right? We need support to be able to do that. None of that sounds like investing in jails, right? And so, and then I think also just overall awareness, right? I think we all talk about, you know, mental health as a broad stroke, but there are so many components to mental health. You don't always have diagnoses in our community, but we also just deal with a lot of oppression, right? And how we manage that, and how we ensure that we're making space for ourselves to do the things around self-care that we really need to be able to do, especially when we don't have 100% control over the budget. But that's going to change, because you're going to tell us all about like how you're investing all those priorities I just lifted up, because I need them. I need them tomorrow, like
Yeah.
like tomorrow.
We needed them yesterday,
I
and
guess.
we are building them, you know. And I think, like, so I'm an abolitionist who is invested in healing justice. And yeah, healing begins with telling the truth, sharing our truths, sharing our lived experiences. I've been locked up before for substance use needs. And it was an awful experience, and upon getting released, it actually further entrenched my addiction, right? So if you aren't sick going into incarceration, it will create sickness, right? And if you are sick, it will only exacerbate and deepen that sickness and spread that impact out into your loved ones. Because if you have children, your children will be separated and robbed from you. If you did have social services like Medi-Cal or housing, you will lose that opportunity. And if you manage to keep your head afloat while having a job, while also being sick and managing your mental health, you will most likely have lost it, right? And so the collateral consequences of criminalization is just so deep and profound and has such intense ripple effects. And so I think the first step in our organizing around this is naming that we do not have a justice system. We have a punishment bureaucracy. And that doesn't only happen inside of our jails, it also happens in our healthcare systems, right? We see that with the criminalization of reproductive health. We see that where doctors are being criminalized, right? And forced to just like manage people's oppression through the lens of healthcare. We see that in behavioral healthcare, where you literally, in order to get intense mental health care, you have to have been locked up or hospitalized at least 3 times, which means that like you literally have to be deeply traumatized by these systems that have failed you over 3 times to get the care that you need. That is punishment. That is not healthcare. And so Restore Oakland is a part of the Care First Community Coalition. And we are a coalition of 13 groups. It includes interfaith groups. It includes the Alameda Health Consortium, which is the county's 13 federally qualified health centers. It includes like over a coalition of 60 behavioral health, like community-based organizations, family members who have lost loved ones in the jail, family members who've lost loved ones to severe mental illness and homelessness. And so what we're trying to do at the Care First Coalition is to really is to not only like fight this thing that is killing us, but to really use our creativity to paint a picture of what's possible. And so we've put together a $171 million budget agenda that we want the county to invest in this year, with the biggest dollar amount. So we want $80 million, which is the same amount that the jail expansion is. And we've been saying this for 2 years now. We want $80 million to permanent supportive housing. And the reason why that's our number one demand is because our entire housing and healthcare system is organized around crisis. And when you have a system that's organized around crisis, everything is like short term. Even if you get therapy, the idea is to get you off of therapy. If you get short-term housing, the idea is to get you off. And so people are playing like Frogger. They're like hopping from shelter to shelter, experiencing a lot of instability. And we know that if you actually have permanent housing that is deeply affordable, you'll be able to get the care that you need, right? There's just a huge weight of stress that is just a huge burden of stress that is lifted off your shoulders. And it means that you get to live with your family members. And so we have $171 million. We're really going for not the low hanging fruit, but the most like ambitious investments. We're also calling for like 24/7 mobile crisis teams, expanding things like mental health first, providing, like you said, subsidies for family members, increasing the pay of behavioral health workers. Like, how do these jailers get paid $300,000 and behavioral health workers get paid $60K? You know, like the budget is a moral document. It shows where our priorities are, and we need to prioritize care.
Wow, you just laid so much on us, and what I appreciate the most is like I can see that support helping me and my family. I can see people I know and their family members, and I think that's really what matters when you talk about Care First in our county budget, because we don't always make it real, right? Make it tangible. And I think that's like the beauty of organizing, is when we really are able to reconnect back to what are the real conditions in people's lives that we're trying to shift and change. So I just want to, first of all, just give you your props, like your props, the folks at Care First Community Coalition. Um, Thank you. Thank you for listening to the community. Thank you for hearing the problems that people are experiencing. Thank you for naming that this system is focused on crisis and not long-term sustainability and health. Um, I I can't appreciate you enough, because I think sometimes we know what we know, right? If as a parent, I know to go to my public school board. As a resident, I know to go to my city council. I think sometimes it's so far away from us, the county systems, but we interact with them on a day-to-day basis, and we don't really know always how much we can advocate and how much we can advance the things that we really want, need, and desire, that really don't fall in the responsibility of the city or our school board or anybody. They're actually county resources. And as you lifted up earlier, wow, they have a lot of money, billions of dollars, that we're not learning how to, direct, right? And to lift up from a democratic perspective, why they're important. And that's what Oakland Rising is about. We're about building our power. When we say that, we're talking about actually taking our voice from, just the living room on the street corner, or, in our chats, to actually really asserting it and really telling our board of supervisors what we need, what we desire, what we expect them to do, because we elected them to do these things. And so, yes, let's get this. We need all of that today, not tomorrow. Yeah. So tell us where we're at. Tell us where we're at. Look, I need healthcare right now, because this cough is killing me, and everybody coughing and spreading these germs around. Look, but that's because we don't have healthcare, right? Or we don't have what we need, right? Beyond just what's been provided, right? So tell us, given all these priorities, given what you all are lifting up on behalf of the community, where are we in this county budget process? Are we close to the Board of Supervisors really being able to listen to us, or are we far away and we need to mobilize tomorrow? Today, right now.
Well, we are mobilizing tomorrow. We're giving these Board of Supervisors a wake-up call at 9 a.m. To call them out. Yeah, so we're showing up to the county building right by the lake, right behind that massive, ugly courthouse, at 1221 Oak Street. We're showing up at 9 a.m. We're gonna bring coffee, and we're really just we're gonna hold space to honor the lives that have been lost in Santa Rita Jail, while also uplifting our community solutions, and tell the Board of Supervisors that their decisions are whack. And so many of these Board of Supervisors have been in these seats for as long as I've been alive. Like for 30 years, they've been in this seat. They've been creating budgets for decades that have gotten us to this place. And now they're in this position where they're pouring millions of dollars into jails in response to this place that is a death trap. So we're showing up, we're showing out. We got allies. We're making connections with the Justice for Banco Brown Coalition. There's going to be folks from the Young Women's Freedom Center speaking to this. We're going to have behavioral health workers there. We're going to have our abolitionist allies, our interfaith allies. We're going to have a mock funeral procession. And we're going to name what we need and say enough is enough. So that's happening tomorrow. Hope to see all of the 11 people in this room there, and others. And right now there is a massive budget process that the state, the city of Oakland, and the county is in. And I've been running campaigns. We're collaborating with Oakland Rising through the Real People's Fund on a city budget campaign, which is incredibly beautiful in the face of such a huge deficit. We have a mayor who wants to spend like hundreds of $millions on housing, and on things that matter. There are many things that need to be addressed, and that is not enough in this budget for sure. We need to hold her accountable. But the county budget is 3 times larger than the city budget, and there is nowhere near the amount of spending on housing.
Yeah.
Nowhere near it.
Wow.
And in fact, the county is sitting on a $1 billion reserve. We have been trying to crack open the county's reserves, which is super opaque. If people who are watching this want to walk away with anything other than the fact that the jail is whack, we have a county administrator named Susan Maranishi. She's the person who holds the purse strings for the county. She's been appointed to this role since 1995. And Pacolia, I just want to play a quiz with you. How much do you think Susan Maranishi makes a year?
Oh, it's gotta be like,
Throw me a number.
let's say 250,000.
No, higher.
What? Hell. Okay, 350,000.
It's more than twice as that. She makes $853,000.
What do you mean?
Yes.
No.
She makes 800. She is the most highest paid person in this county. This was her 2021 salary. So who knows how much this lady makes now? She could be making $1 million by now, for all I know. And she is the person who is creating these budgets and finding money out of all kinds of places, right, to fund jails over care. When we ask them, hey, we need housing, they're like, oh, go get money from the state and feds, and then we'll match it. But when it comes to the jail, she's able to whip out hundreds of millions of dollars a year out of nowhere, right? And so she is a wizard. She's incredibly smart, and we need to also hold her accountable, because if you sit inside these budget meetings, the Board of Supervisors do not ask her any questions. They just are like,
$800,000. I mean, I would ask somebody. Can we just pause for? Wait a minute. How? What do you mean? We spend what? 800? That's her base salary, or like?
No, that is her total salary and benefits. So I think her base salary is probably 60% of that, which, like, 60% of 850 is like what, 375, 400?
House every year. That's a house every year.
Yeah, what? I mean, it's like, do you know how many people you could support with their life-affirming needs?
It's a basic income program for like 300 families. I'm trying. Maybe not 300. I'm just doing some quick math on things I've seen in the past. But what? I can't. I'm stuck. I'm stuck right.
You could fund restorative justice in all of Oakland Unified School District. Honestly, our tax dollars at work. We are paying this lady to create budgets that neglect our people.
That's no. No. You know, there's questions in the chat around, can she be a target or what? Mm-hmm. But listen, no. I think what's so like all about what you just said around her salary and her benefits, and this isn't about like individual targeting, but just overall as a witness to and trying to understand budgets. What's really disheartening is that I see so much across our systems, people abusing the power of working in our government, our local government. My gosh, that's excessive. It's excessive to hear that a salary is that high. And it's excessive to hear that our supervisors and that our elected officials are not holding our county staff accountable, our administrators accountable for equity. This is not okay. Yeah. And I don't know if that's politically correct to say, but god dang, 800 total? No.
I know. Can you imagine the pension that we're going to pay for her for the rest of her life after she retires? It's so crazy. I mean, even if she was an incredibly county administrator, no one should get paid that much.
No.
Right?
Not at all. I think that this is something that I hope over time we start really as residents in Alameda County start paying more attention to, because I do feel like what ends up happening, as you point out, that government has to have some accountability around salary and benefits. Like, my gosh, you cannot be making that excessive amount of resources and then say on the same end, oh, we can't afford X, Y, and Z. Like, this is not okay. We have homeless, we have children and families that are not getting the services that they deserve, that they have a right to. We have, folks who are waiting for supports from our county departments, and they're not getting it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, not okay.
Yeah,
Not
not okay.
at all. And definitely not acceptable that our supervisors are not willing to check that. I'm at loss. I'm at a loss. I mean, you just keep. I'm learning so much right now in just this conversation that I'm be there tomorrow. I'll be there at 9. Yes, I will. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is important to remember and reframe. And this is why I love Oakland Rising's work, because you guys are not just about getting people out to vote. You're also about following through, following the money, and making sure that these people who are campaigning on these platforms are not making empty promises.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, the people who have the most power are us.
Yes.
Foot their bills. We pay them $853,000. We get them elected, and we should be freaking pissed when they're not doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
And this county, it's like, I feel like a lot of, just generally, like, the media focuses a lot on like the national political landscape, which is important. And like cities, but like most everyday people don't know what a county does.
Right.
It's actually more on the county to provide housing than the state.
Wow.
Or not, sorry, than the cities, right? The cities, like, it is a collaborative process, but counties have way more funding to do things.
Right.
And I think something that we're really interested in thinking about is like, how do we, and this is, I think, the next phases of our work, is like, how do we coalesce with people who are in the cities in Alameda County to join forces and call out, like, get the mayor of Oakland and the mayor of Emeryville and the mayor of Berkeley and the mayor of Fremont, right? To call out the county and being like, yo, like, we are spending hundreds of millions of dollars in a deficit to do your job.
Woo!
And I think that's
loud.
Yeah, like, we also have to get the cities to hold the county accountable. And I think it's really up to us to do that. And the county purposely runs a very opaque, untransparent budget process that doesn't allow for us to know this information. Like, everything that I'm sharing with you is through PRAs, is through public record requests, right? Like, we have been digging for this for years, in like 10 years of organizing around this.
Yeah. And I think it's important for folks to know that, you know, we at Oakland Rising, we fundamentally believe in governance, right? And part of that is co-governance. Is really the idea that we should, as residents, we should, as folks who care about Alameda County, be able to not only demand but easily access all that information, right? We shouldn't have to do public records requests to get information on how our tax dollars are being spent in our county. But more importantly, to the co-governance is the idea that our representatives will actually be our representatives, and that they'll hear our voice, and that they'll work with us to then make the budget more transparent, but also make it representative. Budgets are representations of priorities and values. And I want to emphasize the value part, because people talk a lot about equity, and then when you go into these budgets, you do not see equity. $853,000 for one person's staff role is not equity. There's no equity in that, right? There is no equity in trying to spend resources to lock our people up instead of giving them the health services and the supports that they need to be able to move and advance forward in a healthy ways in this world, in this county today, right? So I just want to say that because I think that at the end of the day, you just lifted up something that I don't think a lot of us understand, which is who and where the responsibility for the problems in our community. Where is it? Where is our system designed to address that? I heard very loud, very clearly that we got some county organizing to really wrap our hands around, wrap our hearts around, and some accountability to governance with the community in our county budget process. And my gosh, we all got to get on the ball because we can't go a decade with this type of misspending on priorities that are not that are not about us, right? That is
Right.
not at all. Not at all.
Right.
Fired
I
up.
know.
Fired up.
Fired up. Chloe is fired up.
Ready? I'm gonna be there at 9 o'clock.
Wake up call, 9 a.m. I'm gonna get you on that mic. Let's go. It's on.
In the chat, they're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get it. No, it's real. It's real, right? So now we got some clarity around like the problems, but also, wow, so amazing, such amazing solutions that we need to be able to push for. So besides tomorrow, what are the opportunities ahead for folks to really not only like push us forward in this moment, to a budget that's more representative of our values and our priorities from the community, but can you tell us a little bit more like, okay, next couple of months is what we can be able to do, but here's where you want folks to get down long term?
For sure. Yeah. So before I move on to that, Susan Maranishi is appointed.
Oh, well,
the county administrator is an appointed official. She can be fired or encouraged to retire by our county board of supervisors. And I think it's time for a change in scenery. I mean, like, thank you, lady. Thank you, no thank you. Sorry, not sorry for serving your time since 1995, but it is time for someone who is more reflective of our community and our community's values to create these budgets, which are what you said, right? Like moral documents. And so long as someone is making like nearly $1 million a year, that is not a reflection of who our people are. Like, who even makes that much money? I don't know. Like, she makes as much as a corporate executive and running this town like it's a private corporation, which it in fact is not, right? Making money off the backs of incarcerated people to get like these massive corporations contracts inside of the jail, right? Mm-hmm. We are purchasing military grade weapons to shoot at people inside of the jail, inside of a confined, secure facility. And all of it is just so messed. So we're in this budget cycle. The county budget, just like the city budget and the state budget, has to be approved by the end of June. So we are trying to organize, if you have connections with, Assembly Member Bonta, with Senator Skinner, with any electeds around this county, right, at any level, we are urging people to gather opposition against this jail and to lift up the $171 million platform. So if someone in here is a part of an organization, we want you to endorse it. We want you to come to the action on Tuesday. We will be mobilizing, right? If you sign up, if you go to carefirstcoalition.org, you can sign up to get action alerts, and we'll send you a script to email to your county board of supervisors and call them. We know that people are working and may not be able to sit on these meetings for hours on end. And so we will do that work for you and let you know when that's going to happen, but also just let you know, like, you can just pick up the phone and in 2 minutes, right, create that pressure through the call scripts that we have. And then after the budget process, we're really trying to make the budget process year round, right? Like, this is billions of dollars. We're literally given a few weeks to study what is proposed. Like, we don't even know what the proposed budget is in Alameda County right now. It is June 12th. She has not even released a proposed budget for the county yet for this next year. So she's expecting us to read a 400-page document and critique it in less than 2 weeks. So we are trying to crack open this process and be like, no, lady, this is a year-round process. We have needs that are year-round. We need you to democratize the budget. And what we're hoping to also do is really center around the principle that freedom is a place. It is a practice. Mm-hmm. And healing is integral to knowing, to being able to envision the type of freedom that we're fighting for. And so at Restore Oakland, we are going to be holding healing circles for, behavioral health workers, for housing justice advocates, for folks who are on the front lines making next to nothing compared to Susan, to like nourish and rejuvenate each other and ourselves so that we can coalesce around these bigger abolitionist struggles, right? So really trying to model the care that we're advocating for, and knowing that this road for freedom is long, and that we want to care for each other and rejuvenate each other through restorative practice. Right. Because as you know, this budget process is like 24/7, and we just need to have some space for rest and reflection. Yeah. So that's what we're doing this summer. And then in the fall, we're going to ramp up like political education around the county. We know that there are some candidates who are running for these seats, and we want to do some widespread education for our residents so that they can get as informed as possible on the elections. So yeah, it's a high-pitched moment right now. There's gonna be some healing on the other side, and some deep political education in the fall.
Yeah. Okay, so for a couple of folks who dropped in the chat, can you take a moment to put in the chat for us the website for folks to get down and get involved? And while you're doing that, I just want to make sure I understood where we're at. So not only are you all doing this amazing work of kind of demystifying our budget, but I heard you very clearly say that our county budget has not been released from this, Lord, from this 853,000 person, and the county budget has to be approved fairly quickly, and we don't even have the draft. We don't even know what the supervisors are going to approve. Yeah,
the supervisors don't even have it. We literally ask the supervisors, have you seen the budget? They're like, no, we see it when you see it. And we're like, how do you have, like, we are all being played by this lady. The supervisors are being played by this lady. Like, and so actually the most conservative supervisor, Halbert and Tam, right, are actually working with us on a motion to be like, you need to post the budget agenda and materials 7 days in advance.
What do you mean 7 days? What do you mean? No, it needs to be more than 7 days. Okay, we got some work to do.
We're being hustled. $4 billion are being hustled every year, and the Board of Supervisors are playing along.
Look, we are people, if you are watching this, okay, listen, I don't know what else you need to hear, because this is crazy. Billions of dollars, no draft budget, nobody knows when the budget's going to be released. And what was the deadline is what?
The deadline is June 30th.
Yeah.
So basically, Pacolia, we have like people who are scanning, like, because we're scanning the county budget the county website, being like, is she releasing it today? Is she releasing it in 72 hours, which is the minimum amount? And if she does put it on the agenda, there's no attachment. So in the meeting, we're sitting there taking snapshots of the slide deck because there's no PowerPoint attachment. And she's going through it incredibly fast. The Board of Supervisors are seeing it for the first time. They have like absolutely no questions because they are just digesting it. It is a setup. It is a setup.
Oh yeah, this is the last year this gonna happen. Oh no, this is the last year this gonna happen.
In Oakland, the mayor released this in May.
I hope Oaklanders watch this, and I hope you stand with me on this. This is going to be the last year this go down like this, because there is no way, with the amount of responsibility that our county holds, that this is acceptable. This is not acceptable. This is a gross negligence of the responsibility for even responsible budgeting. Even responsive budgeting can't proceed forward until we are able to have a budget process. This is unacceptable. You are absolutely right, Stinky Feet.
Stinky Feet
Stinky Feet, stop. I be loving
Stinky Feet.
By the way, can I just say that out loud? Like, but yeah, this can't be our business as usual no longer. Like, my gosh, we are in 2023. And if we don't take time right now to literally call these things out, good idea, Nola.
Press tomorrow, Nola. Hope to see you at the action.
Yeah, definitely tomorrow. But I think, like, we have to have a vision. You painted a really clear understanding of the vision of Care First Community Coalition and Restore Oakland and Oakland Rising. Like, we all stand for this. But gosh, I want us to get so fired up because I mean, you know, I always try to break it down to things that I truly understand. I can't imagine living my life without a budget.
No,
I can't do that. I probably wouldn't pay my rent on time every month without a budget. Like, let's just keep it real, right? And let me bring it to a different realm. If my kids were able to go months upon months without assignments and be able to just get an A at the end of the year, I wouldn't feel okay with that, right? This is someone who is now, you said, appointed in our system, that our own supervisors literally are not holding accountable. Yeah, we got to change that.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, also, like, no wonder the system is a hot mess, because all of these departments don't know what they're going to be planning for until the last week and a half of June.
No.
How much money that they're going to get.
No.
That's why Alameda County is obsessed with pilot programs. Yeah. Right? Like, they're going to just, like, pilot our lives through a short-term experiment because there is no intentionality. No intentionality in terms of how services are provided. If you are a county worker and you're and to know that the budget that funds your job, like, your boss's boss's boss doesn't even know anything about it until, like, 10 days before it's voted on, means that, like, just the level of instability and precarity that all of the workers, people who are in the systems, the community-based service providers, like, no wonder shit is so fucked up. Yeah. No wonder there is no care coordination. No wonder everything is facilitated around crisis, right? Yeah. Because she is administrating violence through gross negligence, as you said.
Yep. And you know what? Her days are numbered, because it's not even just about her as the individual. It's about the whole conglomerate of the system allowing that level of negligence to occur, right? And that's what's got to stop. And that's when we say, like, we're about justice. We're about pushing for what matters most for our community. It's about making sure that these systems can be healthy. They can be healthy. But when they're in the hands of individuals who feel no level of responsibility to make them healthy or to ensure that they serve the people. So tomorrow we got an opportunity to mobilize, to make our voices clear. Let's go back over that information before we run. Almost time for us to get on back to the work. So tell people again what's going on tomorrow. How do they get involved?
Yeah. So tomorrow at 9 a.m., there's going to be a Care First wake-up call at the Alameda County Supervisors Administration building. 9 a.m. at 1221 Oak Street. It's right by the lake, right by Lake Merritt Park, like 3 blocks away. We're going to bring coffee. I'm going to buy dozens of donut holes. And we've got, yeah, you gotta get hyped. There will be family members who've lost loved ones in the jail. There's going to be Danza Azteca from our homie Tiny in Poor Magazine. There's going to be folks from the Justice for Brinko Brown Coalition who are speaking to the connection, right, around homelessness, criminalization, and incarceration. So come to the wake up call. If you cannot come to the wake up call, go to www.carefirstcoalition.org. We have an organizing toolkit. You can email and call the supervisors today. We will, that toolkit will change, right? Because we don't have access to the budget right now. So as soon as we do, we're gonna study it. We're gonna let you know when those dates are. We're gonna email you about how to mobilize with us. But right now, we want the county to release the budget immediately so that we can study it. We all have jobs and families and lives, right? Like, and we are working with the Board of Supervisors to like help them ask questions because we prepare for this all year long. That's how we developed a $171 million budget agenda. Mm-hmm. So if you're in that toolkit, you can also endorse the agenda, right? So yeah, we're going to be mobilizing for sure every day, the last week in June.
Okay.
I think like June 26th, June 27th, June 28th, June 29th. Those are all budget hearings. So those supervisors, because they don't see the budget until like the last week, they dedicate every single day for many hours, which is so inaccessible to hear what the public has to say and to ask the county supervisor questions.
Okay.
So we're kind of like the study group that feeds them the questions. And it's so untransparent that we are actually the only voice in the room, which means that we have to be louder than ever before. We have to create the political will for them to fund a Care First budget. They have the money, they just don't have the will. And I think that's what we then create by holding them accountable.
Fantastic.
And yeah, this is a long game, you know, and so we hope to meet folks through this process and like heal with you and build with you in the long term.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving folks the information. So again, if you can come tomorrow, you know, to the press conference or the press wake up, let's not even say press conference. If you come tomorrow to the wake up county call, make yourself available. If not, heard very clearly the last week in June, mobilize, even if it's just to watch, even if it's just to make a public comment or e-comment. Please get up into this county budget process. Let's make our voices heard. Let's really begin to shift the dynamics that we've heard from Tash about the county. Thanks so much to Restore Oakland, to Care First Community Coalition. My gosh, you all have made it very possible for us to learn as a community together where we need to put pressure on to get the things that our community needs, to make sure that we are holding this county's system accountable. But more importantly, that we can get to that long-term vision of justice, of affordable housing, of mental health, and overall health care in our county. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Just for everybody, all the hearts that are coming on, all the, yes. Yeah. I hope you will come back in the future. I want you to come back to future Monday Meals and let us know how things are going, where people can get involved at the beginning of the budget process. Because it'll be the last year that a budget is released this late. Like that we got to make. If we can make that move forward and be able to have much robust transparency, that's going to be really critical for all of our collective good. And so I heard that rally call real clear. And yeah, release that budget. Release our budget. So we can make it our budget.
Stop gaslighting us.
Oh Lord, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I hope you put that on the sign. I want a poster that's just stop gaslighting us.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Pacolia. I'm honored to be in this movement alongside you. And yeah, let's advocate for this budget. Let's get the right people in these seats, and let's continue to organize. So thank you so much for having me, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you at 9 a.m.
I'll see All right, you all. See you all tomorrow if you're joining us. If not, see you not next Monday. Just a reminder, next Monday is Juneteenth. And I hope you get out and celebrate and enjoy our very new holiday. But on the 26th, come back. We'll have Monday meals then. See you all. Bye.
Bye.